Okay. Right hand side 15 by 2 is 30, right? Okay, next expand and merge. Okay, again, for the first term, we have to use a distributive law. Assign 3 to 10 and minus 3y respectively, which gives us a 30 minus 9y, right? Plus 5y plus 15 equals 30, right? And now this equation is much easier to solve, right? Okay, let's try to merge all the similar terms. Okay, left-hand side, we have minus 4y, right? Okay, move all the constants to the right-hand side of the equation. We have 30 minus 45. Okay, that means minus 4y equals minus 15, right? So y is minus 15 over minus 4. This gives us 15 over 4. This is the solution for y. All right, any questions? We're okay, right? Okay, let's see the next one. Okay, for the next question, again, as I said, we usually don't like ratios. So note here the least common denominator is 3, right? Because 3 is the only denominator. So we can multiply both sides of the equation with a 3, which can keep the equation equivalent, right? Okay. Well, the original equation equivalent to 3 by the left-hand side. And 3 times the right-hand side. Right? And next step, again, we need to use the distributive laws. That means you need to assign the 3 to both of the two terms on the left-hand side and assign 3 by 2 to both sides of the terms on the right-hand side, right? Okay, for the left-hand side, we have first term is 6 minus 3 times 5 minus 4y over 3, right? Because the distributive law tells us we need to assign 3 to both of the terms. Again, similarly, 3 by 2 is 6. We need to assign 6 to both sides, to both of the terms on the right-hand side, which is 6y minus 6 times 2. Clear? Okay, next, of course, you can cancel a 3 here, but pay attention that there is a minus sign in front of this term, right? Okay, so when you have a minus sign in front of it, and when you expand it, everything inside, everything after the minus sign here. Okay, here actually you have an implicit brackets here, right? So when you expand everything inside the brackets, all the signs inside have changed to the opposite. Okay, so this step is very important. You can easily make mistake here. Okay, right hand side we have 6y minus 12. Okay, next step, left hand side we have 1 plus 4y. Right hand side we have 6y minus 12. And then we can merge all the y's and all the constants, which gives us 2y equals 13, right? So the solution is y being 13 over 2. This is our final solution. Okay. Again, pay attention to the step marked with 2 stars. Okay. Do not be fooled with the minus signs here. Okay, any questions? No? Are we okay? Okay, let's proceed. Question 5. Okay, again, of course you can expand it, but usually, like I said, we don't like ratios. Okay, if you don't like ratios, you can try to eliminate all the denominators. Okay, again, note that the least common denominator. Okay, and you can see why we practiced so many questions on the least common denominator, right? Least common denominator is 3. So we can time 3 to both sides of the equation. Okay, left hand side gives us, okay, you can just copy it to the next step. Right hand side, again, times a 3 to right hand side. Okay, next step, you need to use the distributive laws. Okay, this means you need to assign 3 to both of the terms on the left hand side and assign 3 by 4 to both of the terms on the right hand side. Okay, then you have 9y minus 3 times the second term equals 12y minus 12. Of course, here you can cancel a 3, right? Okay, again, note that there is a minus sign in front of your second term on the left-hand side of the equation. So we have 9y minus 2 minus 5y brackets, right? When you remove the brackets, everything inside it changes their sign. So you have 9y minus 2 plus 5y, right? Equals 12y minus 12. Okay, so now we can combine and merge. Left hand side, we have 4y minus 2. Okay, right hand side, we have 12y minus 12, right? Then, sorry, I made a mistake. That should be 14y, right? 9y plus 5y is 14y minus 12 12y, and then put 12y on the left-hand side of the equation. You have 2y equals minus 10, right? And this gives us y is actually minus 5. And this is our final solution. Okay, have a look at this. Any questions? No? Okay, let's see section 2. Section 2 is about some more complex equations related to the one variable linear equation. Okay? At first glance, they may seem not a linear equation, but in fact, when you cancel anything here, you will get something like linear equations. Okay, let's start from question 6. Okay, question 6. Note that we can merge these two terms together, right? Because they have the same denominator. Okay, same denominator. Can merge. Okay, this means when you have 3 over x and 2 over x, you will get 5 over x, right? And put the 4 over 7 to the right-hand side of the equation. So the minus sign becomes a positive sign, right? So this gives you 5 over x equals 6 over 7. Okay, and next, by using the cross multiplication method, where we'll have 6x equals 5 by 7, right? And then x is, of course, 35 by 6. Any questions? Are we okay here? Okay. Let's see the next one. Question 7. Note that we have square root 3x on the left-hand side, right? And you have another square root 3x on the right-hand side. So you can put the right-hand side minus square root 3x to the right-hand side of the equation, right? And put minus 7 to the left-hand side of the equation. So this gives you 5 plus 7 equals square root 3x plus square root 3x. Okay, this means 12 equals twice of square root 3x, right? Okay, this means square root 3x is actually 6, right? So when you have something square root, the square root of something is 6, that means this thing is 36, right? Or you can think it this way. Root square is actually 3x raised to the 1 over 2 power, right? If you have this equals 6, that means 3x is 6 raised to the second power, right? Because 6 raised to the second power and then raised to the 1 over 2 power. This gives you a 6, right? So this means 3x is actually 36. And this gives you a solution to x, which is 36 over 3, which is 12, right? Any questions? No? Okay, let's see the next one. Next one, note that on the left-hand side of the equation, you have something times square root 2x over 3, right? And on the right-hand side of the equation, you have square root 2x over 3. So it is possible for us to merge them together, okay? And usually we put the minus something to the right-hand side of the equation, okay? And move out constants to the other side. This gives us 8 minus 4 equals square root 2x over 3 plus 2x over 3, right? Okay, this means 4 equals twice of square root 2x over 3. What does this mean? This means square root 2x over 3 is 2, right? And when the square root something is 2, that means this term is actually 4, right? Because the square root of 4 is 2. Okay, this means x is 3 by 4 over 2, which is 6. Understand? Okay, if this method is not so obvious to you, we have another method. Okay, if you don't feel very comfortable with the radical signs, as I said before, you can always use another letter u to substitute this complex expression. Okay, for example, you can let u equals square root 2x over 3, right? And then the original equation becomes what? 8 minus u, right? Because now u is your square root 3, 2x over 3. How about the right-hand side? right-hand side becomes u plus 4, right? And now this equation seems very easy to solve, right? This means 2u equals 4, which means u is actually 2, right? And here you have a solution for u. And also you know that u is actually square root 2x over 3. So that means your 2x over 3 now is 2, right? And again, when you have square root of something is 2, that means this thing is actually a 4, right? And then you can solve x is 4 by 3 over 2, which is 6. Okay? You can choose either method. This is method 1. I'll write it here. All right, you can choose either method, whichever you feel comfortable with. Okay, any questions? Okay, let's see the next one, if you don't have any questions. Okay, again, note that on the left-hand side, you have cube root of 3 minus x, right? And on the right-hand side, you also have something times cube root of 3 minus x. So it's possible for us to combine these two, right? Okay. For example, we can move right-hand side cube root of 3 minus x to the left-hand side, and move out constants to the other side. So this gives us 2 times cube root 3 minus x minus cube root 3 minus x equals 15 minus 10, right? Be careful with all the signs. Next step, you can merge these two terms, right? Because the only difference here is their coefficients. So actually here, by distributive laws, we have 2 minus 1 times cube root 3 minus x, which is actually 1 times cube root of 3 minus x, right? Equals 5, right? So when you have cube root of something is 5, that means your thing here is actually 5 raised to the third power, right? Because only 5 raised to the third power and then raised to the 1 over 3 power. This is 5. Understand? So here you have 3 minus x is actually 5 raised to the third power, which is 125. Okay, so this from this final equation, you can get that x is actually 3 minus 125, which is minus 122. Understand? And again, we always have an alternative method. Okay, if the first method is not too obvious to you, you can use a letter U to substitute all the terms on the left-hand side that is not very comfortable. Okay, for example, we can let U equals cube root of 3 minus x workable, right? So the original equation becomes 10 plus 2u, right? Minus 15. How about the right-hand side? Right-hand side is actually a u, right? Okay, and now this equation is very easy to solve, which is u equals 15 minus 10, which is 5, right? Okay, this means what is u now? We are not done yet, right? Because the original question asks us to solve x, not u. So we're not done yet. So what is u here? U is actually cube root of 3 minus x. Okay, u is 5. That means cube root of 3 minus x is 5, right? Okay, when you have something's cube root is 5, that means your thing inside of the radical sign is actually 5 raised to the third power, which is 125, right? So again, here we have x is 3 minus 125, which is actually 122. Okay, any questions? Okay, again, you can choose either method, whichever you feel comfortable with, okay? Any questions? If you don't, we'll proceed to the next one. Okay, next question, which is very similar to question 9, right? So you can move the term on the right-hand side to the left-hand side and move all the constants to the right-hand side of the equation. So this gives us twice of fifth root of x minus 4 minus fifth root x minus 4 equals how much? 20 minus 18, right? Okay, now we have twice of something minus something, which gives us fifth root of x minus 4 equals 2, right? Okay, and when you have something's fifth root equals 2, that means the thing inside the radical sign is actually 2 raised to the fifth power, right? Do you understand this step? This is a crucial step. I can see that you made a mistake here. Okay. I'll write the hint for you. Okay. When you have something nth root of something, let's use a triangle sign here. Nth root of something is, for example, m. What is the triangle here? Triangle sign here. A triangle sign inside the radical sign is actually m raised to the nth power, right? Understand? Okay. No question here, right? Okay, so from the final step that we can solve, x is 2 raised to the fifth power is 32. 32 plus 4 is 36, right? Okay. And again, of course, you can use the alternative method. Okay, method 2. If you don't feel very comfortable with the fifth radical sign, you can use a letter u to substitute this term, which is let u equals fifth root of x minus 4. It's workable for you, right? Then the original equation becomes 18 plus 2u, right? Because u here is the fifth root of x minus 4. Okay, minus 20 equals u, right? Because you substitute the fifth root with a u. So right-hand side becomes a u. Okay, now this equation is very easy to solve, right? We can merge all the u's and all the constants. This gives you the u on the left-hand side, and 20 minus 18 is 2. Okay, so you have solved u, right? So, but it's not done yet. The question asks us to solve an x, but there is a connection between u and x, which is actually fifth root of x minus 4 now is 2. That gives you x minus 4 is actually 2 raised to the fifth power, right? Okay, here, of course, you don't have to write the brackets, okay? And then x is 32 plus 4, which is 36, okay? Any questions? Now you can see question 8, 9, 10 is actually of the same type. You can choose either method, whichever you feel very comfortable. Okay. Don't have any question, we'll move towards the next one. Okay, next question. Note that we have 3 over 5x and 6 over 5x, right? Again, here, both of the ratios have the same denominator. Again, they have same denominator. When you have same denominators, you can merge them directly, right? Okay. How do we merge them? We can move the first term onto the right-hand side of the equation and move the minus 5 to the left-hand side of the equation, right? Okay, so this gives us a 5 plus 6 equals 6 over 5x minus 3 over 5x. Understand? This is a very crucial step for you, okay? And on the left-hand side, you have 11. Crucial 有那个 important 的意思。6 minus 3, you have 3 over 5x. Okay, and by using the multiplication method, you have 3 times 1, right? Equals 55x. Then our x here is 3 over 50. Right? Any questions? Any questions? No? Okay, let's see question 12. Okay. Question 12, actually, we have several ways to solve it. Okay, let's see method 1. Okay, method 1, note that you have 3 over x minus 2 and 3x over x minus 2, right? And again, here the two denominators are the same, so we can combine them directly. That gives you 3 plus 3x over x minus 2, right? Equals 6. 6 is actually 6 over 1. Okay, next step, using the cross multiplication method. This gives us 6 times x minus 2 equals 3 plus 3x, right? And next, expand everything and merge all the x's and all the coefficients, all the constants. This gives us 3x equals 15. And the final solution is, of course, x being a 5, right? I think this is the simplest way to solve it. Again, the alternative method, method 2. Okay, like I said, we don't like the ratios here, right? So note that common denominator is x minus 2. So we can time x minus 2 to both the left-hand side and the right-hand side, right? This makes a original equation equivalent to this new equation. Any questions? Okay, next, by distributive laws, the left-hand side becomes the sum of the two terms here, right? Okay, and then we can expand. At the same time, we can expand the right-hand side, right? And now, note that we can cancel these x minus 2. And the left-hand side becomes 3 plus 3x. Right-hand side is 6x minus 12, right? And then merge all the x's and all the constants, which gives us 3x equals 15. Then, of course, x here is a 5, right? This is the alternative method. Again, you can choose either way to solve it, whichever you feel comfortable with. Okay, have a look at this. Do you have any questions? Are we okay? Yes? Okay, let's see the next one. Question 13. Okay, question 13 tells you that x being a 4 is a solution to the equation ax squared plus 3x minus 4a equals 0, right? Okay, if, how do we write this? Because x4 is a solution, we have a times 4 squared plus 3 times 4 minus 4a is 0, right? Because x4 is a solution, you can just put x being 4 into the original equation, and this equation holds true, right? And this gives us actually 16a plus 12 minus 4a is 0. And from this new equation, we can easily solve the value of a, right? This means 8a, oh, sorry, not 8, it's 12a. 16 minus 4 is 12. 12a equals minus 12, right? Of course, this gives us a is actually minus 1. Okay, any questions? All right, if you have no questions, let's look at the next one. Okay, next one, it seems that this is not a linear equation, right? Because you have r squared. But let's try. If you have a question like this, usually try to merge similar terms first. Okay, let's try to merge similar terms first to see if we can make this equation simpler. Okay, this means we can move the r to the right-hand side of the equation. This gives us 4r squared equals 16 plus 3r minus 2r minus r, right? 3r minus 2r minus r is actually 0. Okay, so this is great. We have 4r squared actually equals 16. Okay, this means r squared is 4. Okay, again, r squared is 4. What does this mean? You have a number, and this number raised to the second power. The result is 4. So this number could be r. R could be a 2, right? Or minus 2 will also do, right? So the result is positive 2 or negative 2. Do not forget the negative 2, right? Okay, here you need to pay attention to this. If you have x squared equals a, actually this is equivalent to the absolute value of x squared is a, right? So x could be positive or negative root square of a. Of course, a here is a positive number or a 0. Okay? Do not forget the minus sign. Okay, any questions? No? All right, let's move on. Okay, next one, again, let's try to simplify this equation to see if we can make it simpler, okay? Left-hand side, we have a fourth root of 81. 81 is actually 9 by 9, right? 9 by 9 is actually 3 to the fourth y plus fourth root of 16 is actually 2 raised to the fourth power times y, right? Okay, and let's move all the constants to the other side of the equation, which gives us a 10. Okay, and then left-hand side, actually, we have fourth root of 3 raised to the fourth power and times fourth root of y plus fourth root of 2 raised to the fourth power times fourth root of y, correct? Okay, this is actually 10. And here, 3 raised to the fourth power, and then find its fourth root. This is actually 3, right? And next term, 2 raised to the fourth power first, and then followed by finding its fourth root. This is, of course, 2. 2 times fourth root of y equals 10, right? And then here you have 3 times fourth root of y and 2 times fourth root of y. This gives you 5 times fourth root of y, right? And this number is 10. So this gives you actually fourth root of y is how many? 2, right? Okay. If you have something's fourth root is 2, that means the thing inside is actually 2 raised to the fourth power, right? Because when you raise 2 to the fourth power and finding its fourth root, the result is 2, right? So y is 2 raised to the fourth power, which is 16. Any questions? Okay, from this step to this step, you need to pay attention to this. If I tell you the fourth root of something is 2, the thing here is actually 2 raised to the fourth power, right? The process here is inversible. Okay, any questions? No? All right, let's see the next one. Okay, next one, note that the two ratios have the same denominator, right? Okay, this means we can directly merge these two ratios. This gives us 5 plus 6 over the same denominator. Okay, the result is 1. Okay, what does this mean? This means 11 is, by cross multiplication method, 11 is 3 plus square root of y, right? Okay, this means square root of y is actually 8. Okay, when you have a square root of something is 8, this gives you y is actually 8 raised to the second power, right? Which is 64. Understand? Okay, again, if this is not so obvious to you, you can use the substitution method. Okay, method 2. Substitution. Okay, we can use a letter U to substitute 3 plus square root of y, right? Is that workable for you? So the original question becomes 5 over u plus 6 over u equals 1, right? Okay, again, they have both of them have the same denominator, so we can have 11 over u is actually 1. This gives us u is actually 1. But remember that it asks you to find y, not u, so we're not done yet. U being 1 means 3 plus square root y is 1, right? Okay, this gives us y, square root of y is actually, sorry, u should not be 1, u is 11, right? Okay, that means square root of y is 8. Okay, and that means y is 8 raised to the second power, which is 64. Okay, any questions? Okay, have a look at these. Do you have any questions? No? Okay, let's see the next one. Question 17. Okay, but first glance, it seems that we cannot merge these two ratios directly, right? Because now we have different denominators. So how can we deal with different denominators? We can always find the least common denominator, right? And then add them up. Okay, find the least common denominator. Okay, so least common denominator is, of course, 2 plus square root y times 2 minus square root y, right? Okay, then, okay, the original equation becomes 2 plus square root y times 2 minus square root y, okay? And if we times 2 minus square root y to the first term, it becomes this one, right? And for the second term, if you rewrite it using the least common denominator, this term becomes this one, right? And right-hand side does not change at all. Understand? Why it's still 2? Why does it not change? Can you see that? Because to current stage, all we're doing here is just rewrite the first two terms using the least common denominator. We didn't touch anything on the right-hand side. Understand? Okay, so now we can merge the first two terms, right? It becomes 2 plus square root y times 2 minus square root y. Okay, add the numerators together, which gives us a 4, right? Okay. And of course, note that we should use a formula like a plus b times a minus b. This is a squared minus b squared, right? Okay. So here we have 4 actually over 2 squared minus square root of y squared is 2, right? And this gives us 4 over 4 minus y is 2, okay? This means 4 minus y is actually 2. And this gives us y is 2. Okay, this is the final solution. Do you have any questions? Any questions? No? Okay, of course, there is an alternative method. Let's see method 2. In method 2, actually, we can time the least common denominator to both sides of the equation, right? So now you can times this is a common denominator, right? Times this to the left-hand side of the equation gives us this expression. Okay, and in order to keep the equation equivalent, of course, at the same time, we need to time the same denominator to the right-hand side of the equation. Understand? Do you have any questions to the first step? No? Okay, now we need to use the distributive laws, right? On the left-hand side, first we need to assign the first term to the first term in the brackets, and then assign the least common denominator to the second term in the brackets, right? Okay. Following this, we will have 2 minus y times 2 plus square root y equals twice of this. Correct? Okay, this means is how much? Oh, sorry, this is not a multiplication sign. This is a plus sign. Okay, so next step, left-hand side is actually 4. Right-hand side, we have 2 times a plus b times a minus b is a squared minus b squared, right? And then this gives us 4 minus y is actually 2. And y is actually 2, right? Okay, any questions? Okay, can you see the difference between these two methods? Okay, I'll say it again, okay? In the first method, we do not touch the right-hand side. We simply rewrite all the terms on the left-hand side using the least common denominator, okay? And then use the cross multiplication method to solve it. And in method 2, we times both sides of the equation with the least common denominator, okay? And then merge all the similar terms. And then eventually we can solve a y. Okay? Any questions? Again, you can choose either method. I think the first method is more intuitive. You just use the first one. Okay? Any questions? No? Okay. Let's see the next one. Okay, next one, again, you have a t minus 3 and 3 minus t, right? To merge them together, you need to use a least common denominator. Okay, note that 3 minus t is actually minus brackets t minus 3, right? So we can rewrite the second term to 6 over minus t minus 3, right? And then we can put the minus sign in front. Okay, this is actually 2 over t minus 3 minus 6 over t minus 3, which gives us 10. Okay, this means we have 2 minus 6 over t minus 3 is 10, right? Okay, this gives us t minus 3 times 10 is minus 4. Right, this means t minus 3 is actually minus 2 over 5. Okay, this gives us t is actually 3 minus 2 over 4, which is 13 over 5. Okay, any questions? No? Okay, let's see the next one. Question 19. Okay, the rules here is we can use, when you have square root a over square root b, you can always rewrite it as square root a over b, right? Okay, following these rules, we have on the left-hand side, we have, okay, something under a large, very large square root sign, right? Okay, here we have 1 plus cube root of 3t over 4 minus cube root of 3t. Okay, this is 2. Understand? Okay, this actually means the thing under the square root is a 4, right? Okay, this means 1 plus this over 4 minus this is actually a 4, right? Because the square root of 4 is 2. Okay, and now we can use the cross multiplication method. This gives us 1 plus cube root of 3t is actually 4 times 4 minus cube root of 3t. Okay, and next use distributive laws to expand the right-hand side, which gives us 1 plus cube root 3t equals 16 minus 4 times cube root of 3t, right? Now merge similar terms and all the constants. We can move the minus 4 to the right, to the left-hand side, which gives us 5 times cube root of 3t on the left-hand side equals 16 minus 1, which is 15 on the right-hand side, right? Okay, then both sides of the equation divided by 5. This gives us cube root of 3t is 3, right? Okay, now you know that the cube root of something is 3. That means this thing under the cube root is 3 to the third time, right? which is 27. So now you have the value of t, which is 27 over 3, which is a 9. Okay, this is our final solution. Any questions? No? All right, let's see the next one. Next one, actually, we can use the cross multiplication method, and then it seems that we can merge something, right? So, okay, let's try to use a cross multiplication method to have a look. Okay, again, 5 is actually 5 over 1, right? And use a cross multiplication method, we have square root x plus 2 plus square root x minus 2 is 5 times square root x plus 2 minus square root x minus 2, right? Okay, and then expand the right-hand side of the equation. Correct? Okay, and then try to merge similar terms. Okay, we can put square root x plus 2 to the right-hand side and put all the square root of x minus 2 to the left-hand side. And this gives us 6 times square root x minus 2 is actually 4 times square root x plus 2. Correct? Okay, then this gives us, actually we can divide both sides of the equation with square root x plus 2, right? And again, divide the equation, both sides of the equation with a 6. This gives us square root x minus 2 over square root x plus 2 is actually 4 over 6, which is 2 over 3 after simplification, right? Okay, again, the rules here we are using is when you have square root a over b, square root a over square root b, you can rewrite it as a over b and a large square root sign. Okay, this means we have x minus 2 over x plus 2 is actually 2 over 3, right? Okay, again, when you have something, the root square of something is 2 over 3. That means this number should be 2 over 3 raised to the second power, right? Which is 4 over 9. Right? Okay, and then again, here you can use the multiplication, cross multiplication method. Okay, this means 4x plus 8 is actually 9x minus 18, right? Okay, this gives you 5x is actually 26. So you tell me what is x. Of course, x is 26 over 5. All right? Any questions? Have a look at these questions. Are we clear now? Okay, if you have no questions, I think you can leave the class. Next assignment will be available later today or early tomorrow. Okay. The questions, I think we need to practice them one more time. The questions, some of the questions will be similar to these in this assignment. Okay. Please remember to download them from Google Classroom. And if you have any questions, please let me know at any time. Okay. All right. Have a nice weekend. I'll see you next week.